Hey everyone, today I want to talk about why Pure O does not exist. This will be very difficult for many people to hear. Pure O is always covered incorrectly by default because it doesn't exist. Once people come in over the years, hundreds if not thousands of people with me alone, and then Rob and the other team, we work with 25,000 people over the years, all the webinar coaching services in the WhatsApp group. Anyone that comes in that believes they have Pure O, it's very easy for me to break this down and show them why they still have so many outward behaviors. And then you hear these different definitions of Pure O, which none of them substantiate and actually explain what OCD is, which is there is, number one, no such thing as OCD being purely obsessive. That's a big one. Or OCD just being purely obsessive with just mental rumination, unless you are much further along the journey. No one comes in with just Pure O and says, hey, I just have obsession-based OCD and I have no outward behaviors, because they haven't correlated their life structure, their behaviors, and their habits with fueling their OCD. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this video. It's a super important topic. If you're struggling with this myth, if you're spinning your wheels, if people are just telling you to stop ruminating, which isn't possible because rumination is primarily automatic, yes, there's a fire there and you can add extra rumination gasoline on top of it, but it's primarily something you have to wear. If people are telling you of Pure O, please come in and see us at phil@ocdrecovery.com. We can help you break down this myth and really move towards OCD and anxiety recovery. So there's two types of definitions when it comes to, like I said, Pure O. Number one is purely obsessional based. No such thing. It's called obsessive compulsive disorder. The second part is obsession with primarily mental rumination and mental compulsions. No chance whatsoever. OCD is so severe that when I sit someone down and say, tell me from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep what your life is like. There are hundreds of compulsions and avoidance behaviors. Hundreds, if not thousands that they're doing. Micro ones here, big ones here, medium ones there. They've just never seen that. They go, that's not correlated with my OCD. I said, yes, it is. You sleeping until 10 o'clock in the morning and skipping breakfast because you're too tired, you don't think that's correlated? That is a compulsion and an avoidance behavior. And yes, it is built into your actual OCD. So it's so important to realize that if you're coming strictly from the angle of, I have a thought, it's primarily thoughts, and I have mental rumination, and that's all I have, that's going to hold you back because that's not actually what OCD is. Now, how do you break down Pure O? You look at it like any other thing. Number one, you take away the term Pure O. You get rid of that term. There's no such thing. It doesn't give you any insight. The reason why we say maybe are OCD, because it gives you an insight into what the fears are. Relationship OCD fears. Pure O does the complete opposite. I'm not sure if Daisy snoring is too loud for the camera, so I'm going to kind of move it over this way. We're going to go this way because Daisy likes to, I actually like standing and doing videos. Something I do like. So after we get rid of the term Pure O, the next thing we have to do is look at someone's life structure. Okay, so what we do, and this takes multiple different calls. It's not going to just snap in one place. We look at the core fear, and then we say, well, I say, what's your life like? Tell me about your morning. Tell me about work. Well, I don't work. I'm on disability. Understandable, but there's a compulsion right there for most people, an avoidance behavior. I only eat maybe once a day because my anxiety, avoidance behavior. I don't drive in certain ways because when I'm really tired or triggered, I'm afraid of crashing. That's an avoidance behavior and a compulsion. So it's not as simple. And then what the person says is after a while, if they're open to it, they think, oh my gosh, there really is a lot more stuff that I didn't think was related to my OCD. And again, I have to go back and reiterate myself over and over and over again. Number one, this is very difficult to miss if you never had OCD. This is extremely important to remember, is that your habits and your life structure is directly correlated with your OCD. There is no my OCD and my life. You are one and the same. You are intertwined. You never hear me say the words my OCD. You will never, ever hear me say that. The reason why I don't say it is because there is no such thing as just your OCD and then a separate person. They're connected. So I look at it from what's my belief? What's my problem? What can I control and what can I not control from the Stoic perspective? How is my belief system about that now? And then what behaviors can I apply to this long term? And then time and patience. Sounds good in theory. That's going to be a very messy journey up and down. Usually takes a couple of years to really get underneath large core fears. Not always, but most people are not recovered by 1 year, even when they're doing all the right things. It doesn't mean they're not astronomically better, but it's important for you to hear that me, Moments, Sam, Phil, we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get to where we are today. That doesn't mean I wasn't astronomically better at 12 months or 6 months, had my life back, but I still had morphing themes and big trigger moments that could last a month or two. I had relapses with maybe video games in the beginning and adult websites. I still was venting to my wife. So I had lots of things that I was doing incorrectly, and this was no different. So And there's not a whole lot to cover in this video. I just wanted to jump on here and just make a quick YouTube video on this because it's so incorrect. So let's do a quick summary. Number one, there is no such thing as pure O. Even with the two definitions that people use. A purely obsessional based, no such thing, obsessive compulsive disorder. Number two, obsessional based with mental rumination only or even primarily, no chance. If you're coming in to see me, you've never had help or you're getting help in the wrong direction, I could spot hundreds of avoidance behaviors, hundreds of compulsive behaviors in your schedule and your habits. And then it's if the person is open to hearing that. Not everyone is, because it's really hard to hear if you've been working on something for 5 years, the person's well-intentioned, but they're leading you in the wrong direction because they've never had OCD at the chronic level, 24/7 rumination, boom, 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 all the other symptoms leading you to where you are today. So it's very important to look at that. And then we're just looking at the core fears. So let's say you have health OCD, right? Now, what's maybe one that people say are, let's say existential, okay? Existential solipsism or sensory motor. I've even heard people classify sensory motor as a pure O form. Absolutely not. You have so many outward avoidance behaviors that you're doing to not feel that sensory motor sensation. So I say, what's the fear? What's your belief about it? Tell me about your life. And a lot of times I won't even preface the non-having a pure O. I'll first say, well, tell me about your life structure. And they explain things to me. I have pure O, this is what I have. And then I start slowly dripping that in, right? Because a lot of times compassion and empathy is extremely important. But tough love is really important. Like me telling you that there's no such thing as pure O, and it's very wishy-washy when people do explain it, is tough love. It's also the reality of OCD. This is something that we get very, very, very well. There's a great quote that I love by Carl Cox, who's a famous DJ, anyone that likes that. And one of this is such a random thing, but you'll see. And one of the things he was saying that, look, I've tried many things in my life, but one thing I do know is I'm very, very good at DJing. Same principle with this. Try many things in my life. One thing I'm very, very good at is knowing the interworkings of OCD and anxiety because of my personal experience and coming out the other side with years of trial and error, reading the books compulsively, venting, going to the mental hospital, wanting to take my own life, having the police called to my house multiple times, not eating, then gaining a bunch of weight, smoking, abusing adult websites, all the different addictions. The person you see today was nothing like the person I was in 2018, 19, 20, and a little bit of 21. It just wasn't. And then I had OCD my whole life before that. It hindered me in so many ways. So the moral of the story is we got to drop the terminology of pure O. It really does hold people back. I never looked at it like that, but I can imagine how it does hold people back. And then it makes people think they're extra, they're different in certain ways. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about it. Remember, phil@ocdrecovery.com. We all take notes on our calls. We try to be as detailed as we can and give as much free content within reason, and we can help you. And then the webinars, 8:30 p.m. UK time on Tuesdays, and we hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.